And then finally, it's time for our main event, ladies and gentlemen, for the Ring of Honor World title. How many weeks is this in a row now that Jericho has manipulated himself to get a main event and or a solid win, sometimes both at the same time, on this television program when other people go months and months without having 2 weeks in a row where they get a win? And this time it was Chris Jericho versus Tomohiro Ishii.
All right.
I'm against Jesus Christ. And like I said, remember, I said weeks ago, this is an excuse for Jericho to beat somebody on TV every week. And here now it's going to get interesting. Who will he lose to eventually and how? Or will he? Or if he does, will it benefit his next program more than the guy that wins the thing from him? But nevertheless, so it's Jericho versus Ishii. And I wrote, before the bell even rang, I bet they're going to stand there and slap each other's chests.
I thought the same thing. Same thing.
And they surprised me. No, they went with slapping each other's face first. And then they started slapping each other's chest. And this thing for 15 minutes, while every disenfranchised wrestling fan that might flip by and see it is going, why is Jericho wrestling a baked potato? They did this, the strong style Japanese, whatever. And I kind of like the idea of what Jericho did if it had been with anybody that's actually regularly in the company and could ever mean anything on the program or could ever sell a pay-per-view or is ever going to be at a pay-per-view main event or is ever going to be in an important position anywhere instead of Ishii. But blading the chest for the chops, in theory,
Obviously,
I don't know why somebody hadn't done it before. Well,
He obviously bladed his chest. It was right in front of the camera. Then you watch him put it back in his pocket after he missed the pocket the first time.
But also, and here's the thing, it can backfire because you can't control that, right? Sometimes there's a wide range of what you're going to get. And it was too much blood for chops. And that's because I was skipping through this. I wasn't watching intently. And because, we know what it's going to be. But when I saw his entire chest covered with blood, I said, well, wait a minute. I backed up. And then I saw, what happened. But again, blading for something like that, if a guy, Gunther, boy, if they could do it in the WWF, that would be a thing to do. If he got in a ring with fucking Roman Reigns or Brock Lesnar, any major legitimate star, and fucking hit one of those goddamn rifle shot swings on somebody's chest and they got a little color off the chest, that would be great. That'd be swell. I don't care if you're wrestling Tomohiro Ishii and you fucking explode a hand grenade up your own ass, it's wasted. Nobody's going to give a shit anyway, except the people that are already there that might know who this fucking ridiculous, broken down fucking crumb bum is. And I'm saying again, everybody, oh, he's so racist. No. If Tatsumi Fujinami got in the ring at the age of 60 and had been dropped on his head and spine and whatever, like Suzuki and Ishii and all these other Japanese legends that they bring over here and treat like they're working with a Fabergé egg, then, that'd be one thing. But no. So, and again, it was a great visual, bleeding from the chest. Use somebody that's full-time in the company to get juice for their shit and get that over rather than, and again, it's appealing to it's making the boys happy and appealing to Tony Khan's own markishness. That all of these unheard of, why, here comes Shibata in sweatpants and a fucking t-shirt. And everybody go, who the fuck is that that's watching television? They have narrowcasted this to the point where it's just ridiculous. So, but yeah, when Flair and Garvin had the program for the NWA title, They loved it. They enjoyed seeing how hard they could hit each other and seeing if either one of them was going to fucking flinch. Garvin threw the overhand chops, Flair threw the knife edges. But the two differences were they didn't stand there and over allow each other to hit themselves. They did it in the context of a fight. And secondly, nobody had to blade their chest. I've told this story before. When they worked every night after the first 20 or 25 matches in 3.5 weeks, Garvin taped his fingers as well as throwing that overhead chop, and the tape on his fingers took the goddamn top layer of the epidermis off of Flair's chest to the point where he was putting antibiotic cream on his chest every night to prevent infection because he was down to the raw meat in spots on his chest. There was no skin left. And he still didn't bleed like that. So the point is, I've seen people do what you're going for, boys, and that shit ain't it. So anyway, Jericho won again. Wouldn't you know who won the pony? And we don't have ratings for this fiasco because the next day was Thanksgiving and it's the holiday weekend, and I don't think anybody's rushing, although you could have probably got one guy that was off on Thanksgiving to just go around and do a head count personally on everybody that watched this program.
Again, I watched this match with my brother. Knew Chris Jericho from years ago, has not seen him on TV or anything since, and he thought the match was ridiculous. It looked like two guys standing there lightly hitting each other. Like Garvin and Flair looked like there was some fire in it. This was just let's stand here and do this over and over and over again. And it looked ridiculous. I know there are fans that love it because they'd love it if anyone did this, if anyone just stood there and chopped each other. But this was not good.
Well, at least we got that all cleared up. So that was AEW for this last week. And, oh boy, are you glad you're back now?
Yeah.